All right, welcome. So if you were here last week, we started covering what we call the technique of Tristana. So whenever we're working with yoga practice, and in particular when we're working with the postures of yoga or yoga asana, we're really doing more than just stretching our bodies and exercising our bodies. Of course, we do get that added bonus of giving our muscles and our connective tissues a stretch whenever we do the yoga poses. And depending on how we do the yoga poses, we get some strengthening effect there. And in vinyasa classes, we even get a little cardiovascular effect. So there is that physical component to the yoga asana, but primarily the yoga asana are intended as techniques for managing our energy. And several weeks ago, we talked about the movement of energy. We went through all of those levels of prana and how they move through the body. And so it's that movement of prana that we're really working with when we're working in the physical practice of yoga. The other thing that we're doing when we're working with any practice of yoga is trying to hone our skill of attention, being able to pay attention to just one thing at a time. We like to pride ourselves on being able to multitask and do a whole lot of things at one time, but actually studies show that we're not very effective at the things that we're doing when we're doing more than one thing at a time. And so yoga is a way for us to train ourselves towards one pointed attention, and then to kind of deeper levels of awareness beyond that. But with this technique of Tristana, we're working towards that one pointed attention. So Tristana is the way that we train ourselves in physical practice to be more mindful. I mean, we're all, I'm sure, I know I am, guilty of laying on my mat and doing some poses, but feeling hungry and thinking about what I'm going to have for lunch whenever lunchtime rolls around. Or, I've looked at the news or checked an email or even had a conversation with somebody at home that just keeps like playing over and over and over again in my mind. And so I'm here kind of going through the motions, but not actually really engrossed in the practice of yoga. And so Tristana helps us to bring our awareness back to what we're doing. We worked with the breath last week, and we work with the breath a lot. So it was really more of a review than anything else. We worked with samavriti, which means that equal breathing that we do almost always in class, where our inhales and our exhales match in their length and their depth. And then we deepen that breath into what we call ujjayi, that kind of echoing, sounding voice from the back of the throat. So we're going to move on from breath this week because breath is really familiar to us. We're moving on to the second practice of the technique of Tristana, which is called Bandha. And we might stick with this one for a couple of weeks because it's fairly new for most people practicing yoga asana. The word Bandha is a Sanskrit word that means to bond. Okay. And usually we think of bandhas, or they usually get described as an energy lock. But the word bandha doesn't actually mean lock. It means to bond. And when we think about the word bond, it can have a couple of different meanings. When we think about the word bond, it can mean to join together, like we have a bond, we like each other, we get to know each other, we spend time together. So we can think of bond in that sense of joining together. But then when we also think of the word bond, we can think of sort of a restraint. So kind of like the word bondage, where we are like joining something together and then keeping it there, right? So bandha, or these energy bonds, kind of work in both ways. When we apply bandha to our practice, we are linking our attention to our body. Gwen was here yesterday and she will attest that when we practice bandha with our yoga asana, it takes a lot of paying attention. You really have no time to think about what you want to have for lunch or the conversation that you had before you got here, because all you can do is think about what you're doing. So it's a way to bind our attention to our practice, but it's also a way to kind of restrain the energy. It's a way to move energy towards particular parts of the body and then maintain that energy there, or kind of concentrate that energy there. And again, I'm going to use Gwen as an example because she said, and I know she told most of you, it was hard when we were doing it yesterday, but when I left after really focusing on that, I felt like a totally different person. Like yoga felt different. So we're going to work with these bandhas for a couple of weeks. There are 3 bandhas in yoga practice. They're called Jalandhara Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and Mula Bandha. And we're going to work with them from the top down because this is the way that the bandhas work. So that top one, Jalandhara, the word jala with a long A means a net or a way to like catch or capture something. So Jalandhara Bandha is the way that we kind of catch or capture the energy that's moving up and down what we call the Sushumna Nadi, or the main energy channel. Oftentimes we think of Jalandhara Bandha as the throat lock because it involves the area of your neck and kind of your upper chest. We're going to work on yoga postures this week that help us to identify each one of these bandhas. So things like bridge pose are really great ways to kind of feel this Jalandhara Bandha, and that's what we'll do first. But essentially, Jalandhara Bandha is a slight drawing back of the chin. So it's almost like you want to give yourself a double chin, and you're just going to pull your head back slightly. So if you were standing up against the wall or sitting up against the wall, it would be like just gently pressing the back of your head into the wall. So you feel a little bit of tone here in your neck and your throat, but it's not a really strong tightening and contraction of the muscles of your neck. So that's the thing that you want to watch out for here in Jalandhara Bandha. You're not like squeezing it in really tight so that you can't breathe. You want to still be able to breathe. It's also not tucking your chin to your chest as it sometimes gets taught. It's more of a thinking about, if you could, and I don't know anyone that can, but if you can envision getting your chin into this little notch where your collarbones start to come together. So it's more of a back and then slightly down. And instead of tucking your chin to your chest, we're going to practice raising your chest towards your chin. So every time that we breathe and inhale this morning, we're going to focus on this breastbone lifting up towards the chin and the chin moving back. You got it right there. So that's Jalandhara Bandha. That's the net, or what catches the energy. The next one is Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana is a Sanskrit word that means to soar in the air, to fly in the air. So we usually think of this one as the flying up lock, and it moves the energy up through that energy channel. This one is like your pants are too tight, but you still need to button and zip them. So you got to pull your belly in and up, right? So it's almost like a little hollowing out of your abdominal cavity. You're just bringing your belly button towards the back of your body and then lifting it up slightly towards your rib cage. And again, you don't want to do this so strongly that you can't breathe, because the point is that we're breathing and moving energy. We will do some breath holding practices, but ideally, for the most part, throughout this practice, you're able to breathe. So it's just a slight in and up, just kind of coercing the energy up towards that Sushumna Nadi. The last one is called Mula Bandha. The word mula means a base or a root. So this is at your pelvic floor, at the very bottom of that energy channel, Sushumna Nadi, that sends energy from your pelvic floor all the way up through the crown of your head. And Mula Bandha is just to kind of start moving the energy towards that energy channel. And it's a very, very slight lift of your pelvic floor. So a lot of times, it gets described as, imagine that you have to go pee and you're trying to stop the flow of urine. So if you try that, like you got to go pee and you're trying to squeeze and hold, if you'll notice when you try that, pretty much everything down here tightens up. So you get a little bit of tightening in like your anal sphincter, you get a little bit of a tightening in your genitals, everything tightens up. And we don't want to have everything tight because, again, we want to be able to breathe. And also it's just not really that good for you to squeeze all the muscles down there all the time. So it's a really slight lift of your pelvic floor. Sometimes I'll describe it as if you can imagine, so everyone has an area that's called your perineum, and it's between your genitals and your anal sphincter. It's this little like just area of skin right there between. So if you can kind of find that area called your perineum and imagine that it's just an elevator slowly lifting up, right in the center, that's the sense of Mula Bandha. And we're going to work with some postures that help us feel that. So just so you have those kind of visuals and images in your mind about what these things are. Practice is going to be a little bit different today, because usually when I teach, it's kind of choreographed and we flow from one pose to the next. We're just going to do the poses today because we're working on specific poses that help us to identify these bandhas. So we're just going to go pose, 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 and we're not going to put a lot of flowy, pretty stuff in between. Okay? We're going to start down on our backs. And as you come down onto your back, I'm going to have you start by moving your blanket out from underneath of your head, and just let's check this out for a moment. And you can start with your knees bent and the soles of your feet on your mat, and just have your arms at your sides. And first, just check in, see how it feels without a blanket underneath of your head. I know a lot of us are used to having blankets under there, and for a lot of us, it's kind of just a habit and a comfort, because it feels better to have the cushion of the blanket under the head instead of the hardness of the floor. But we don't necessarily need the blanket for alignment. So what you want to feel as you rest on your back is that your chin and your forehead are more or less even with each other. So depending on the shape of our spines, sometimes it can feel when we lie down that our head tips back a little bit, as if we're jutting our chin up towards the ceiling. If you have that sense that your chin is jutting up towards the ceiling, first try barely lifting your head up off the floor, and think about stretching your upper back and the crown of your head a little more towards the back of the room. And that's going to bring your chin in and down, almost in that Jalandhara or net catching lock already. And then try to set your head back down in that way. When you make that little adjustment, if it still feels like your head is dipping back, then grab your blanket and bring your blanket at its lowest point that allows you to bring your forehead and your chin more or less level with each other. And just bring some attention to your breath. And you can start to develop that Samavritti breathing that we practiced last week, where your inhalations and your exhalations match in their length. They match in their effort, the amount of air that you're moving in and moving out. And you can even deepen your breath into the Ujjayi breath if that feels natural for you, if that feels comfortable in your body. And since our practice won't necessarily have the same kind of flowing quality to it that it normally does, you might find it a little bit trickier to kind of stay with this breath throughout the practice, but do your best to maintain a steady inhale and a steady exhale. And if you're exhaling at a point when I'm saying to inhale, just stick with your rhythm and just consider yourself a half a step behind. That's okay. So when we're working with the idea of bandhas, these bonds of energy, and we're thinking of the bandhas in terms of sort of a restraint system, you can think about it almost like building a dam. So whenever we dam up a river, we're able to collect the water from that river, and then that water becomes useful in some way. Most often it becomes something like hydroelectric power. But without the dam, we can't put that water to the same type of use. And so the bandhas work the same way for our energy. It's almost like we're building a little dam so that we can start to gather the prana, the energy in the body, and put that prana, put that energy to good use. Working with bandhas is really considered a more advanced way of working with yoga asana. So we often think of things like standing on our heads and twisting our bodies into a pretzel shape as being the most advanced form of yoga. Just laying on your back right here, engaging your bandhas, is entirely more advanced than standing on your head. Working with bandhas requires attention, and it requires a great amount of self-control. And attention and self-control are skills of the more advanced yogi. And so if your legs aren't already bent with your knees resting on your mat, go ahead and bend your knees. Place the soles of your feet on the floor where you like them for bridge pose. So they could be about hips distance apart. They could be as wide as your mat. You're just going to find the distance that you like. In general, the wider your feet are, the more leverage you'll have. You have more ability to access the muscles that lift and extend your hips and your pelvis. So you can go a little bit wider if that feels okay. We're going to start with the arms at the sides, palms facing down. And just take a couple of bridge rolls with your breath. So when you inhale, you're going to lift your pelvis, start to roll your spine up away from the floor. And then when you exhale, just rolling back down. So just starting to kind of get used to this movement here, lifting and lowering. And as you're lifting up, very gently press the back of your head down into the mat. You'll feel that little sense of engagement through the muscles in your neck and your throat, but they're not strongly engaged or overly contracted. And then when you feel pretty good with this movement, you can start to add your arms. So when you inhale, your arms reach up alongside your ears as your pelvis and your spine lift up. And then when you exhale, your arms float back down. Anytime you need to rest, just pause and rest, because we're going to be doing the same movement for a bit of time here. Once you get your arms going, then you're going to add in a feeling or a sense of really reaching to the back of the room. So rather than just letting your arms kind of willy-nilly float up and down, once they're alongside your ears, stretch your fingertips more to the back of the room and feel the center of your breastbone come closer to your chin. And then when you exhale, lower your arms back down. And then just get used to that sense that every time your arms lift up, you reach a little bit further and your chest comes closer to your chin. And then once you have all that in motion, a little press of the back of your head once you're in the lifted position, that reach through your fingertips so that your breastbone comes closer to your chin, you're essentially in Jalandhara Bandha, or that net lock, or that net energy catching lock, right when you reach the very top of your bridge pose. So take these next couple of rounds really slowly. And when you have your arms overhead, you're engaging that Jalandhara Bandha, just take a pause and notice what that feels like. So as we start to apply that same sense of locking in the neck, when we're upright, it feels a little different because you don't have the floor to stop the movement of your head. You don't have the weight of your body as you lift up into bridge pose, helping to lift your chest closer to your chin. So we're just working with ways that we can easily feel these bandhas, and then we'll work toward feeling them in other postures. Do one more just like this. And then when you exhale, and your arms and your hips and your spine come back down to the floor, just pause there and take a moment to rock your knees from side to side. Stay with your breath here. So when we work with the bandhas in this way, it develops the energetic quality of the practice. We almost always, feel really good whenever we leave yoga. And that's in part because we've moved the body. And when we move the body in asana, what we're doing is waking up our energy, right? So it just feels good when we leave yoga class to like have that energy flowing through the body and to feel alive. When we're working with bandhas, we're starting to develop our energy a little bit, concentrate the energy, and it really develops the energetic quality of the practice so that you can feel the energy more when you're finished with your practice. So the next time that your knees point back up towards the ceiling, we're going to pause there, bring both knees to your chest. Good, and then you're just going to have your arms down at your sides again, your palms facing down. And we're going to do the same type of movement that we did with the bridge pose, only when you inhale this time, you're going to straighten both legs up towards the ceiling and then reach your arms overhead, stretch a little more, see if you can get the center of your breastbone to lift towards your chin. And then when you exhale, bend your knees back down to your chest, float your arms down to your sides. And then when you inhale, the legs straighten up, the arms reach overhead. You get that little extra stretch at the end there. Press the back of your head into the floor lightly. And then when you exhale, bend your knees, bring your arms back down to your sides. Couple more like that. Just getting used to this idea that every time you're raising your arms up alongside your ears, the center of your chest is lifting a little bit more, and you're pressing your head back slightly. Just since we're all kind of going at different rates here, let's do one more before we hold this one so we can all hold together. So the next time that you bring your knees to your chest and your arms to your sides, just pause there and we'll let everyone catch up so that we're all in sync with each other. And now when you inhale again, straighten your legs, reach your arms up overhead, take that little extra reach, press into the back of your head, keep your arms and your legs lifted. As you exhale, let's find that Uddiyana Bandha. At the very end of your breath out, you're going to pull your belly button in and slightly up. And then when you inhale, relax your belly all the way, stretch to the back of the room. Press the back of your head to the floor. And when you exhale, your belly button comes in and slightly up. Everything stays lifted. And when you inhale, you're going to stretch to the back of the room again. Press your head down, lift the center of your breastbone. And then when you exhale, push your belly button down and up. Good, and do one more just like that. Inhale, stretch a little further, press the back of your head down, find that Jalandhara Bandha. Then as you exhale, pull your belly button in and slightly up and hold this breath out just for a beat. And then when you relax and breathe in, stretch long. And when you exhale, bring both knees to your chest. Arms can float down. As you hold your knees in towards your chest, rock a little bit from side to side. And then roll all the way over to your right side and press yourself up and around to your hands and knees. As you come around to your hands and knees, go ahead and bring your blankets in underneath your knees for some cushion. We will do some lunges, so blocks forward to help you get into the lunges. We'll do high lunges today, so you won't need the blocks when you're actually lunging, but they're helpful for getting there. And then go ahead and just do a few rounds of the cow and the cat once you get on your hands and knees and just mobilize your spine a little bit. You might come back to that rhythmic breathing here if you kind of lost that when we were working with the first two bandhas. And just to give everybody at least a few rounds of the cow and the cat, you can take a couple more breaths here. If you've already been going for some time and you'd like to just rest in child's pose, you can take a little rest in child's pose. You can make some circles with your hips or anything else that feels good, just so that everybody has a chance to move around and mobilize their spine. And then we're going to come back to a neutral spine. And our next little flow will be the cow pose, which is the back bending shape of the cat and the cow, straight into a downward facing dog. So you're going to move your hands forward where you like them to be for downward facing dog. You can spread them a little wider if that suits your body. You can angle your hands out a little bit if that feels good. We did that last week. Then you can lift your tailbone, drop your belly, lift your chest, tuck your toes. And then as you're exhaling and lifting your hips, push your belly button towards your back body. Let your head come to rest in between your upper arms. And then when you inhale, lower both knees down, lift your tailbone, lift your heart, your gaze goes slightly forward, toes are tucked under. And then when you exhale, pull your belly button to your back body and then use that to press you up into the downward facing dog. And then when you inhale, come back down to both knees. Lift your tailbone, lift your chest. As you start your cat pose, your front body pulls to your back body and you're using that to lift you up. Your head falls in between your upper arms. Do 2 more like that. Both knees come down on the inhale, moving through the back bending shape. And then exhaling, start your cat pose, belly to spine, lifting your hips. And 1 more just like that. This time as you exhale into your downward facing dog, we'll hold there. And then as you hold your downward facing dog, start to feel that Jalandhara Bandha or the neck lock. So you're extending or lengthening your upper back and the back of your neck. And then you're lifting your breastbone towards your chin. And you're thinking about aligning your head with your shoulders. So there's just a very slight drawing back of your head. So if you could imagine again that the floor is underneath of your head, it's like you're pressing the back of your head very lightly into the floor. Then each time you exhale, the front body moves towards the back body and up just slightly. And then your belly relaxes so that you can inhale. And then when you exhale again, the belly pulls back and up. And then when you inhale, the belly relaxes. Take 1 more breath in and out like this. And as you're finishing your exhalation, getting ready to relax your belly and breathe in again, lower both knees to the floor. And go ahead and grab your blocks if those help you step a foot in between your hands. You can take them at whatever height you like because you'll end up getting rid of them eventually anyway. But we're going to step the right foot forward between the hands. And we're going to come into a higher lunge today. So we're going to tuck the back toes under. Start first by lifting your back knee. And then just for stability, you might want to shorten your stance. So we're not trying to do anything super fancy today. And you don't need to have a big wide stance. You want to be able to feel steady as you start to lift your torso. Maybe your hands come up to the top of your right thigh first. And then you can readjust your feet once you're standing if you need more space or less space. You want to have a slight bend in your front knee, but we're not going for anything super deep. You don't have to try to stack your knee over your ankle or anything special like that. And then once you're up in your high lunge, you're going to raise your arms up alongside your ears. Okay, and then remember, every time that you inhale, you're stretching up through your fingertips, trying to get that breastbone to lift towards your chin, push your head back. Good. This time as you exhale, you're going to pull your belly button in and up, and at the same time, tuck your tailbone under and see how that helps your pelvic floor lift. Then when you inhale, stretching up a little higher, try to get that chest towards the chin, head back. As you exhale, your belly pulls in and up, and the tailbone tucks slightly to get the pelvic floor to lift. Then when you inhale, relax, your tailbone untucks, stretch up. As you exhale, first the belly starts to pull in and up, and the tailbone tucks under. We'll do two more. You're gonna untuck your tailbone, relax your belly, breathe in, stretch up. And then as you exhale, the belly pulls in and up first, and then the tailbone slightly tucks to lift the pelvic floor. One more time, relax, breathe in, stretch, turn on that Jalandhara Bandha, the catcher, and then belly in and up and tailbone under. And relax when you inhale. And as you exhale, fold forward, both hands go back to the floor or your blocks. Just pause there, take a breath in. And then as you exhale, lower your left knee to your mat. And then as you inhale, bring your right knee back to meet it. You can stay on blocks or move them out of the way. Flow through a round or two of cow and cat, or shake your hips from side to side. Just get reset here. And then as you come back to your neutral spine, we'll get ready to do the second side. So place your blocks where you like them to help you step forward. Your left foot coming in between your hands. And then this time the right toes are tucking under. You're gonna lift that knee up. If you need to adjust a closer or wider stance, make your adjustments. You just wanna feel stable. And then as you start to lift your torso, your hands might come to the top of your thigh. Once you feel balanced, then you can raise your arms up alongside your ears. Good, then on your inhale, you're gonna try to lift those collarbones. The center of your breastbone comes a little closer to your chin, and your chin pulls back. Then as you exhale, your belly button starts to draw to the back body and lift up. At the very end of that exhalation, your tailbone tucks so your pelvic floor lifts. And then untuck your tailbone, relax your belly, breathe in, lift the center of your chest. And then as you're exhaling, your belly starts to pull in and up, and your tailbone tucks at the end there. Feel that little lift in your pelvic floor like the elevator. Relax when you inhale, your tailbone untucks. Lifting your breastbone, chin pulls back as you exhale. The belly draws in and up, tailbone tucks just a little. And then relax, breathe in. We're gonna do two more just like that. Remember when you breathe in, you're starting to lock the Jalandhara Bandha. Then as you exhale, Uddiyana Bandha, belly in and up. At the very end there, Mula Bandha, send all that energy right into the core and breathe in and relax. Do one more breath like that. Start at the top and work your way down with your bandhas as you breathe out. Good, then relax and breathe in. And when you exhale, both hands can come down to the floor. Breathe in. As you breathe out, that right knee comes back down to the floor. Then inhale the left knee back to meet it. You can use your blocks or move them. Take a round of cow and cat, or move your hips in circles, or sway from side to side. And then as you come back into your neutral spine, your hands forward where you like them for downward facing dog. Start with the cow pose. When you inhale, lift your tailbone, stretch your belly, lift your chest. And then as you're starting your cat pose, your front body pulls to your back body, then you're using that to send your hips back and up. Your head falls in between, more or less, your upper arms. You're trying to lengthen your upper back, lengthen the back of your neck so that you can think about your head and neck staying in line with your upper spine. Your chin pulls back slightly, the center of your breastbone towards your chin. Every time you exhale, your front body moving towards your back body. And at the very end of that exhalation, a little lift in your pelvic floor. So for ladies, it's almost like you're doing a little Kegel exercise at the end of each breath out. Take one more breath like that. Everything relaxes when you inhale. And then when you exhale, Jalandhara Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha comes in at the very end. When you breathe in and relax, look forward. And as you exhale, just slowly walk your feet all the way up to the top of your mat to meet your hands. Take a breath in, lengthen out your spine. Good. Let's pause here in this halfway lift. Breathe out. And then Jalandhara Bandha, the next time that you breathe in, stretch your upper back, tuck your chin just a little bit. Imagine that you could push the back of your head up into the ceiling. And then when you exhale again, as you're folding over your legs, pull your belly in and up. See if that helps you fold in a little bit deeper. At the very end of your exhalation, the pelvic floor has this little suction. And then you relax everything when you breathe in. You could stretch your spine forward again, lengthen your upper back, the back of your neck long. So your gaze is at the floor, chin pulls back. And then when you exhale, the belly pulls in and up. You fold in a little bit deeper, and then the pelvic floor can lift right at the very end. Let's do 3 more like that. Inhale, you might lift up halfway, maybe not quite half if you don't need to, but you're stretching your upper back, the back of the neck long. Jalandhara Bandha first, and then when you exhale, Uddiyana Bandha comes in. At the very end of that breath out, a little lift into your pelvic floor. Inhale and stretch. And exhale to fold. Work on your next breath in. Come all the way to stand. Sweep your arms out and up alongside your ears. Lift the center of your breastbone towards your chin. And then as you exhale, stand in Tadasana or mountain pose. You can have your hands in front of your heart or down to your sides. Just place your feet a comfortable distance apart. You can keep your eyes open or let your eyelids close slightly. Roll your shoulders back and down, keeping your arms at your sides or your palms folded together in front of your heart. The next time that you breathe in, lift the center of your breastbone towards your chin and pull your head back slightly. Still standing in Tadasana, as you're exhaling, pull your front body towards your back body like you're hollowing out your abdominal cavity. Lift your pelvic floor. And then inhale, center of the breastbone lifts up, the head pushes back slightly. And as you exhale, the belly pulls in and up, and the pelvic floor lifts. And then relax your pelvic floor, your belly, breathe in. And as you breathe out, make sure you have the head back, the belly pulls in and up, lift the pelvic floor. And then relax when you inhale. But we're going to come into Utkatasana, the chair pose. So if your feet are where you like them, just leave them there. If you want to bring them closer or wider, go ahead and change your stance. Take a breath in, and then when you exhale, bend your knees and sit back as if you're sitting into chair. When you inhale, your arms can reach straight forward if that's better for your shoulders, or they can angle up alongside your ears. Good, just breathe out here as normal. When you inhale, you're starting to prep for Jalandhara Bandha. So the chest lifts up, the head moves back, the chin slightly down. As you exhale, belly button drawing in and squeezing up, and then you're tucking your tailbone just a little bit to get that lift in your pelvic floor. And when you inhale, the tailbone untucks, the belly relaxes, the chest lifts up, starting that Jalandhara Bandha. As you exhale, belly button pulls to the back of the spine, tailbone tucks under to lift the pelvic floor. Relax and breathe in. 3 more breaths like that. Exhale, Jalandhara Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha. Then inhale and relax. Exhale, throat, belly, pelvis. Inhale and relax. Last time like that, as you exhale, throat, belly, pelvis. Then on your breath in, as you relax, stand all the way up. Go ahead and grab your right wrist with your left hand. When you exhale, just take a side bend over to your left. You might rotate your chest forward towards the floor or up towards the ceiling, just to get into your low back in a different way. And just take a couple of breaths here, breathing and stretching and starting to release some tension. And then when you're ready, you can reach up through the center with a breath in and switch sides. And as you bend over to the right side again, you could rotate towards the floor or up towards the ceiling. You could flow with your breath, move around in a way that helps you release some tension from your low back. And take one more breath in and out. And then when you're inhaling, come all the way up to standing. And as you exhale, just release your arms down at your sides. We're going to turn to face the window wall. So if you have blankets, you're going to want to move those out of your way. And then it'll probably be helpful if you have blocks to take a block to each end of your mat. Let's see. If you're in the room with me, we're going to still set up in that same way, but just watch up here first so I can show you what we're going to do. Because if I come over to the side of the room, then the people at home can't see, and this is a little bit different from the way that we normally do it. So you're going to be in a wide stance at the long edge of your mat, and we're going to do a little twist here. So it's kind of like a standing forward fold. It's also kind of like a triangle pose or like a revolved triangle pose. So I'm going to start by reaching my left hand towards my right foot. You can hold on to the inside of your foot, the outside of your foot. You can hold on to your ankle. You can take your hand to the block. But I'm going to inhale and stretch my left hand towards the ceiling, center of the chest reaching up. And then as I exhale, I'm going to start to twist towards the right and take this left hand down just to wherever it's comfortable. So again, you could be inside your foot. You could be outside of your foot. You could just hold on to your ankle or your foot. And then I'm going to stretch the right hand towards the ceiling. I don't twist real deep so it doesn't reach all the way up, but just wherever you can reach. Okay, we're going to take a breath in. And as you inhale, you're going to stretch this right arm alongside your ear. Lift the center of your breastbone towards your chin pulls back and down. And then as you exhale, you're going to reach this right hand up to the sky. Pull your navel in and up, lift your pelvic floor, and see if that helps you open deeper. And then when you inhale, you'll untwist a little, stretch that right arm alongside your ear. As you exhale, Jalandhara Bandha, the arm lifts up, belly button pulls in and up, and the pelvic floor lifts, and you can rotate a little bit deeper. Okay, I'll talk you through it, but I just wanted you to see since it's a little bit different than how we normally do this. So stand wide on your mat. You can have a block there at each end where you can reach it. You can take it to the inside of your foot or the outside of your foot, and you can adjust that when we get there, just depending on comfort. Keep your right hand on your waist for now. And when you inhale, reach your left arm up alongside your ear. And when you stretch, lift your chest towards your chin, pull your chin back slightly. And then as you exhale, start to twist to your right and fold forward. And just take a moment when you get down there to find a comfortable place for your left hand. So we're not in any kind of rush at all. Good, and then when you feel like you have a comfortable amount of twist here and you're ready to move on, you're just gonna stretch your right arm straight out from your right shoulder. Pause there, take a breath in and out. Then when you inhale, the right arm's gonna sweep alongside your ear. That's gonna help you lift the center of your breastbone towards your chin, tuck your chin down and back. And then as you exhale, you're going to reach your right hand straight out from your shoulder again. Pull your belly in and up, lift your pelvic floor. See if you can twist deeper. Then relax that. And when you inhale, let your right arm reach alongside your ear. That's going to help lift your chest towards your chin. Then when you exhale and raise the right arm back up, belly button goes in and up, pelvic floor lifts, and you can twist a little deeper. Look at that. One more time. When you inhale, relax, right arm beside your ear, stretch, start that Jalandhara Bandha. Then as you exhale, Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha, both help you twist a little bit deeper. And then when you inhale, stretch your right arm alongside your ear, relax. And then as you exhale, bring your right hand back down to your hip. Careful and slow. When you inhale, you're going to walk yourself around to center and lengthen your spine. And then as you exhale, fold over your legs. So you could lift a little bit here and lengthen your upper back and the back of your neck, pull your chin in and back. And then when you exhale, squeeze your front body to your back body, lift your pelvic floor, see if you can fold a little deeper. Inhaling to get length, that might be by lifting up part way. You might just be able to stretch your upper back still folded forward. And then as you exhale, your belly button pulls to your spine and your pelvic floor lifts up, a little suction. Take 2 or 3 more breaths in this way. And then the next time that you breathe in, do lift your torso halfway if you haven't already been doing that. As you exhale, bring your hands up to your waist. And on your breath in, come all the way up to standing. Your left hand's gonna stay there on your waist. When you breathe in, reach your right arm up. That's gonna help you start to lift your chest towards your chin. Pull your chin back. Then as you exhale, start to twist to the left and fold forward. And as you fold forward, that right hand's gonna come down to your block, inside or outside of your foot, or just hold onto your ankle, wherever you're comfortable. Make sure that you're taking care of your alignment first so that your body feels safe and comfortable. And then when you're ready, that left hand's gonna reach up towards the ceiling. We're just gonna pause there, take a breath out. And then on your breath in, left arm sweeps alongside your ear. That's gonna help lift your collarbones in the center of your chest towards your chin. As you exhale and reach your left hand up, pull your belly button in and up, lift your pelvic floor. See if you can twist a little more. And inhale, sweep that arm alongside your ear. Start your Jalandhara Bandha. Then as you exhale and twist a little bit deeper, the Uddiyana Bandha and the Mula Bandha support that. Inhale, arm alongside the ear. And then exhale. This is the last one here. Belly pulls in and up, pelvic floor lift. As you inhale, stretch that left arm alongside your ear. Then exhale, left hand to your waist. But then as you take a breath in, you're gonna take your left hand to the floor and slowly walk yourself back over to center. When you're in the middle, you're inhaling to lengthen your upper back and the back of your neck, pushing the back of your head towards the ceiling slightly. Then when you exhale, belly button in and up, pelvic floor lifting. Good. Inhaling for length. And exhaling to engage those lower 2 bandhas. Inhaling for length. And exhaling, pulling that energy in through the central channel. 2 more breaths just like that, however you're currently moving. So you might just be able to lengthen your spine without lifting. If it's helpful to lift, you can always lift and lengthen. 1 more breath. Then the next time that you inhale, lifting up halfway. And as you exhale, bring your hands onto your waist. And then breathe in and come all the way up to stand. And just pause here as you breathe out. When you feel ready and steady, you can toe heel or step or hop your feet together. You're gonna turn up to face the front of the room. And then we're gonna come down onto our bellies. I know you're used to getting there by like flowing around in some way. So if you wanna flow yourself down to your belly, you can do that. Otherwise, you're just gonna come down to the floor and lie down on your belly. And as you come down to your belly, you can decide here if you prefer Sphinx pose, your elbows underneath of your shoulders, or Cobra pose, your hands underneath of your shoulders. And then if you're choosing Cobra pose, you're gonna press up into your Cobra pose and just find a height that you can sustain for several breaths. So don't try to get yourself too deep here. Just a height that you can sustain for several breaths. Okay. And then whether you're in Sphinx or Cobra, you're gonna inhale, stretch your upper back forward, lift your chin slightly. And then as you exhale, you're gonna pull your chin back like you're pressing the back of your head towards the wall behind you. Pull your belly in and up and lift your pelvic floor. Then when you inhale, relax everything. Stretch your upper back, tilt your chin up just slightly. Then when you exhale, tilt your chin down and pull your head back, lift your belly in and up, lift your pelvic floor. You'll likely feel yourself back bend a little deeper. But inhale, stretch, lift your chin. Exhale, chin drops down and pulls back, belly pulls in and up, pelvic floor up. And then inhale, relax. As you exhale, lower all the way down. Rest comfortably. If you want to bring your arms forward for a pillow here, you can. Shake your hips from side to side. Bend your knees. Sweep your shins back and forth. And then take another breath or two here. When you're ready to move on, bring your hands under your shoulders, press back through a child's pose. And then from child's pose, you're going to transition to seated. And as you come up to seated, if you have a blanket, it's a good idea just to have at least a small lift underneath of you so your pelvis can tip forward slightly and your spine can lengthen and be in its more neutral shape. That's going to help engage the bandhas if your spine is in its most neutral shape. And we're going to stretch both legs out in front in what we call Dandasana, or the stack pose. Then once you have your legs stretched out in front, you can just relax your hands in your lap. And we're just going to work with the Mula Bandha first. We can't see each other doing this, so it's hard to know what anybody's doing, but I know that you will be able to feel it when you're doing it. So we're going to just take a breath in. Everything kind of relaxes here. And then as you're exhaling, you're just lifting your pelvic floor up. So again, it's almost like that little space between your genitals and your anus is like a little elevator closing and lifting. And then just relaxing when you breathe in. And then when you exhale, that space is like an elevator, doors closing and lifting. And relax when you breathe in. And then when you exhale, the doors close and lift. And relax when you breathe in. We'll do two more like that. On your exhale, it's like those doors are closing and lifting. And then relax. Now this last time, as you exhale, the doors are going to close and lift, and then you're going to maintain that little lift. Breathe in. And breathe out. Keep maintaining that little lift. Inhale. And exhale. Breathe in, still lifting. And exhale. Two more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. One more breath. Keep that little lift. This time as you exhale, pull your belly towards your spine and slightly up. And then pull your chin back and down and hold your breath out. When it's no longer comfortable to hold your breath out, you're going to relax everything except your pelvic floor. And breathe in. And then as you exhale, your belly pulls back towards your spine and up, your chin just slightly back and down. Hold your breath until it's not comfortable. As soon as you need a breath in, relax your belly, lift your chin, breathe in. One more like that. Keep lifting the pelvic floor. When you exhale, pull your belly in and up, chin back and down. Hold until you feel like you need a breath. And then this time, relax everything. Breathe in. And breathe out. And on your inhalation, we're going to reach the arms out and up. The center of your breastbone lifts towards your chin. As you exhale, you're engaging Uddiyana Bandha to help you fold in deeply, and then lifting the pelvic floor. When you're ready to breathe in, everything relaxes slightly, and you're stretching your upper back long, like your heart is lifting towards your big toes. You might lift your gaze, and then as you exhale, pull your chin in and down, draw your belly towards your back body, fold in. And when you inhale and relax, you might lift a little, lengthen your upper back, your chin might lift a little here. Then as you exhale, chin down, belly back and up, pelvic floor lifting. See if you can fold in deeper. 3 more breaths just like that. So you're going to inhale and stretch. You might lift a little. And then as you exhale, chin goes down and back, belly in and up, pelvic floor lifting. Inhale, relax, maybe even a little lift as you stretch. And then exhale, chin, belly, pelvic floor. Stay in your fold this time. Relax everything when you breathe in. And breathe out. Take 2 more breaths, inhaling and exhaling. And breathing in and breathing out. And then on your breath in, come all the way up to seated. Slide your hands behind your knees. Use your hands to pull your knees towards your chest. And you can slide forward of your blanket. You can put that behind you for a pillow. We're going to come down into Shavasana. And then after Shavasana, we're going to set up and do some pranayama practice, so some breathing practice and some meditation practice. So go ahead and put your socks and your long sleeves on. This time when you lie down, if you like to have the blanket underneath of you, kind of like a pillow, just to provide some cushion, you go ahead and put that blanket there. And when you first lie down, it might feel good to draw your knees up to your chest and rock around a little bit, massaging your low back. We'll do a twist after Shavasana, but if you need one now, you can do a short little twist if that helps release your low back. And then just as soon as you're ready, you have your warm layers on, you've kind of moved through your low back a little bit. Go ahead and stretch your legs out long. Rest your arms at your sides. Let your palms turn up towards the ceiling. And then just let your breath relax. So there's no need here to try and control or manipulate your breath in any way. And just become aware of the quality of space in your body. The asana practice, the physical movements of yoga, in part work by freeing up some space in your body for prana to flow. So first, just connecting to that quality of space. The bandhas work by harnessing that newly flowing energy, by concentrating that energy. So now see if you can notice the quality of energy in the space in your body. So just awareness of space and how that space is alive with energy. You can just slowly deepen your breath and invite some gentle movement back into your fingers and your toes, your wrists and ankles. So it would feel good to take a big long stretch. You can reach your arms overhead and stretch out long. And then from there, decide how you would like to twist. So your options are to either from here, bring just your right knee in towards your chest. Keep your left leg stretched out long. Bring both knees into your chest to twist. Or bend your knees, place your feet on the floor, and cross your right thigh over your left thigh. So right knee in, both knees in, or right leg crossed over left. And then you're going to roll all the way over to your left side. And once you roll to your left side, just take a moment and make sure your spine is aligned. So your right hip is stacked over your left hip and your right shoulder over your left shoulder. And then when you breathe in, stretch your right arm up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, roll open to your twist. Right arm can stretch over to that right side, hand resting on your hip or your waist, or you can bend your right elbow like half of a cactus. And then take one more breath in and out. And then as you inhale again, start to roll towards your left side. And then as you exhale, come onto your back. Get back into the center of your mat. And then same thing on this side, you could stretch out long here in between and then either bring your left knee to your chest only, both knees to your chest, or both feet on the floor so you can cross your left leg over your right. And then rolling all the way over to your right side. Stack your hips and your shoulders, align your spine. And then when you inhale, stretch your left hand to the ceiling. And as you exhale, roll open. And take another breath in and out. And then when you inhale, roll over to your right side. This time you're just going to stay there on your right side. If you have your legs crossed, you can go ahead and uncross them. If you have your bottom leg stretched forward, you might pull that in just so you're kind of curled in the fetal position. Let your left hand come to the floor next to you and slowly press yourself up to seated. And again, as you come up to seated, that blanket might come in handy, even if you don't usually use it, because of the way that it helps to tip your pelvis forward. It gives you that ability to feel and lift your pelvic floor a little bit more. Can also come to kneeling if you're more comfortable kneeling than seated. And you don't have to cross your legs. You can stretch your legs forward. You can do your feet together and your knees wide. So you just want to make yourself comfortable. Okay, so we're going to do a version of alternate nostril breathing, which I know most of you are familiar with. This one's going to be slightly different in that we're alternating nostrils only on the exhale. So we're going to be breathing in through both nostrils every single time. And then you'll, as always, use your thumb to close your right nostril to breathe out through your left. And then you can use your ring finger or your index finger to close your left nostril when you breathe out through the right. So your hand is just going to kind of be here at the ready, but you're going to breathe in through both nostrils every time. Okay. And then when you inhale, you're going to lift the center of your breastbone. So you're going to start to engage that Jalandhara Bandha. Okay, after you inhale, you're going to hold your breath in. We're going to try to do this what we call 1 to 1 to 1 to 1, meaning however long you breathe in is how long you hold your breath. You breathe out for that same amount of time, and then you hold your breath out for that same amount of time. If it's really uncomfortable for you to hold your breath that long, then just hold your breath until you feel discomfort and feel like you need to take a breath. I don't want anybody passing out on me this morning or anything like that. So if you're uncomfortable holding your breath for as long as you breathe, just hold your breath as long as you feel comfortable holding your breath. You're going to hold your breath after every inhale and after every exhale. So just listen for a minute. It's inhale through both nostrils, Jalandhara Bandha, hold your breath. You're going to plug up a nostril, breathe out through a nostril. As you're breathing out, belly comes in and up, pelvic floor lifts. We're going to hold the breath out. And then when you relax to breathe in, you release both nostrils and breathe in. Okay, so we'll go slow and we'll do it together for the first couple of rounds so you can get the hang of the pattern. And then I'll leave you on your own and we'll only hold the breath a short time when we're doing this together. If you want to hold it longer when you're on your own, feel free to do that. Okay, so your hand is ready. Let's just take a breath in and out through both nostrils, just kind of a nice cleansing breath in and out. Then when you inhale through both nostrils, lift the center of your chest, pull your chin back, hold your breath. Close your right nostril. Start to exhale through your left nostril, pull your belly in and up, lift your pelvic floor, hold your breath out. Then relax everything, release your nostril in through both nostrils. Chin back, hold your breath. Then close your left nostril as you're breathing out through the right, belly in and up, pelvic floor up. Hold your breath out. Relax everything, release both nostrils, breathe in. Chin back, hold your breath. Close the right nostril, breathe out, chin back, belly up, pelvic floor up. Hold your breath out. Release everything in through both nostrils. Hold your breath in, chin back. Close the left nostril as you breathe out through the right, belly in and up, pelvic floor up. Hold your breath out. Relax everything, breathe in. Chin back, hold your breath in. Close the right nostril, breathe out through the left, belly in and up, pelvic floor up, hold your breath out. Relax everything, breathe in. Hold your breath in, chin back. You're going to keep going on your own. When you're ready to exhale, close the opposite nostril, breathe out, belly back, pelvic floor up. Breath stays out. And relax and breathe in. You're breathing in through both nostrils, engaging the chin, holding the breath in, then out through the opposite nostril, Uddiyana and Mula Bandha engage. As you hold the breath out, all three bandhas engaged. And then relaxed when you breathe in through both nostrils. And then just keep going, same pattern. After the next round of breathing out through your left nostril, hold your breath, and then when you release, breathe in through both nostrils, rest your hands in your lap. Breathe out through both nostrils. Let your breath settle and just notice how you feel. Again, noticing the quality of space, this time in your mind, and the quality of energy in that space. So what asana practice is for your body, pranayama is for your mind. It's a way of creating space for energy to flow.